Hey there, I'm Kat, and this is Brews and Reviews. First, let me start off by saying I am so sorry if you can hear my fan. There is no way that I could have this fan turned off right now because I think I would just expire into a puddle of sweat. It is so hot here right now. The humidity is coming for me and it's not a good time. I just am a big pile of sweaty mess, which is, not what you needed to know, but also sorry if you can hear the fan. So today's video is a very late 10 in 2023. This actually has some books in it from April, which is just a long time ago now. We're in June. Sorry. So I had some interesting reading times recently where I just didn't read very much, just wasn't in the mood, very burnt out, wasn't great. So a lot of the books that I've read are kind of short or part of the same series. You'll see what I mean. Hopefully this won't be too long a video. So let's get straight into it. The first book that I read was The Little Mermaid, which was Audible's free edition that had the woman from Little Mix who was the narrator, because she also did a little bit of singing in it. And it was cute. I mean, cute as that story can be, I guess. It wasn't the Hans Christian Andersen original, but it was like an adaptation of it where like similar things happen, but the end is very slightly different, but not like Disney. That was fine. This is the first time I've ever read The Little Mermaid. I would have thought I'd have read it before, but apparently I haven't, so there we go. I don't really have much to say about it, but it was a cute adaptation. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. So next up I picked up a book called The Setup by Falguni Kothari. This was another free Audible, very short romance. Apparently that's what I like to pick up when I am in a not reading mood, because I'm like, oh, it's short, it won't take too much brain power. And this one didn't take too much brain power. It was kind of like a, I don't know if you can hear Cooper, but he just really wants my attention right now. Anyway, I've got the cat now. I don't think this is comfortable for him. It's not comfortable for me, but here we are. We can go down then if you don't want to be here. There you go. This one was like a cute meddling Indian grandparents sort of story where the 2 grandparents are trying to set up their grandkids with each other, and they're like, I don't want to go on a blind date, this isn't great, and it doesn't like super go well at first, and then they meet up for like 3 different blind dates, and it's cute, I think the thing with it is so short that it's really only the start of a romance, so it doesn't really get into it very much, and it's hard to sort of get really connected because it's like the first 3 dates and then nothing else. So I could really only give it 3 out of 5 stars. So the next 2 books that I read were part of the same series. I read Stalked by the Kraken and Ensnared by the Werewolf. Stalked by the Kraken is actually the first book in this series, and for some reason I read it like 3rd out of all of them, but I'm not sure why. But I buddy read this one with Kayla from Kraken to a Good Book because Kraken, obviously. I actually really liked this one. It was fun. The 2 main characters had good chemistry with each other, and even things that could come across as slightly creepy were just sort of explained in the story in a way that made them not as creepy. Like the whole stalking thing kind of made sense in the context of the story with the characters as they were, but like in real life that would be so creepy. I also liked that there was some interesting world building stuff. It did feel like the end wrapped up really quickly, but at the same time it was just a fun read. So this is a monster romance featuring a witch whose family own this bathhouse where they like get people together and they matchmake people, and she is a matchmaker, but something went really wrong and she sort of lost confidence in herself. And then there's this guy that comes along and he's like, I'm super into you, and he may or may not be a Kraken. There's like a subplot about what he's actually doing in town as well, which is interesting, but it does get wrapped up really quickly, and I feel like more work could have been done on that section. But otherwise, yeah, it was great. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. Then we have Ensnared by the Werewolf, which is a very short novella in this series. And I didn't really like this one. This was like the least favourite of the 4 in this series that I've read so far. So this one features a man who has like a curse on him, and he goes to visit a witch to try and get the curse taken off of him. And he has a lot of self-loathing, which is kind of the thing that I didn't like about it. It was a bit too much self-loathing. Sorry, Cooper. And I kind of wanted it to be less, considering it was only like a very short novella. I was thinking like half of it is him hating on himself, and then like half of it is them banging in the woods, which is fine. It's just, could have been a better mix. It wasn't really the kind of story for me, I think. So then the next 3 books that I read are all by the same author. 2 of them are in the same series, and one of them's like just another book that is very similar. So first up I read The Tea Dragon Festival, then I read The Tea Dragon Tapestry, and then I read Aquacon Cove, all of which are by Kay O'Neill. These are all graphic novels. They are very, very cute, and they were just really easy for me to pick up and read and sort of run with. I'll talk about the Tea Dragon books first, and then I'll talk about Aquacon Cove separately. I think the Tea Dragon books are very, very adorable. It's just a world in which like magic exists, and there are these little cute creatures called tea dragons, and tea comes with them, and when you brew the tea from the leaves that they grow, then it shows you the memories that they built, and it's just really adorable. And there's something kind of sad about it because some of these tea dragons are quite old and they've lost their previous like caretakers, and they have to sort of grieve them, and it, you know, it's kind of sad, but it's very adorable at the same time. I would definitely recommend them if you want something very cute and very just cozy almost. I don't know, there's something about them that's just really nice. I gave both of those books 4 out of 5 stars. Then we have Aquacon Cove, which is sort of the same art style, except it's about a dad and daughter who go to visit their aunt to try and clear up after a massive storm, and like how humans are endangering ocean life and kind of just polluting and overfishing and that sort of thing. And it is really on message and really important, but I just didn't feel like there was much else towards the story. The Aquacons were cute. Like, there wasn't much I've got to say about this, and I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. So next up I picked up The Martian by Andy Weir. This is a reread for me. I read Project Hail Mary earlier in the year, and I was really just wanting to pick up The Martian again because I enjoyed the writing style and like kind of the humour. I just wanted to reread it, so I did. And I did just find this one really interesting. I like the way that the science is sort of incorporated into it, but there's also some funny things as well. Even though it's like a life or death situation, I'm like, yeah, it was fun. So yeah, I give this one 4.5 out of 5 stars. Then next up I picked up a book called Sweetheart by Sarah Maybury. This one I definitely just picked up at random because it had the word sweet in it, and that was like the buzzword, readathon word of the month. So that's why I picked this one up. This one is about a woman who starts working for a coffee shop, and there's this new coffee blend brew around in the area. Everybody wants it. But it turns out one of the people who are making that coffee blend is her sister's ex-boyfriend, and they ended on really bad terms, and she feels really awkward about it, but she does fancy him, and then he fancies her, but he's also like, oh my god, traumatic sister, can't go near this family, cannot. So it is interesting how it evolves, and the romance was fine. It was a bit blah. There was like good sex scenes, I guess. They were just very average. I think the more interesting thing is that there is some discussion of borderline personality disorder, as that is very prominent in the sister character. So there are a lot of people talking about how that has affected them. So there is like, you know, trauma, and they're like talking about that, as well as a little bit directly with the sister herself. I gave that one 3.5 out of 5 stars. It was fine. And then last but not least, we have The Spy by James Phelan. This is an action book about a guy who is investigating a phone number that was left on Osama bin Laden's body after he'd been killed. And it's like terrorist things and spy networks, and he is trying to find out what's what, even though the government agency he worked for tried to murder him. So it's that kind of action book, and it was fine. I did guess the twist at the end, so I was like, well, you know. I think, though, this one is kind of like a popcorn action book. Not something that you would probably ever pick up again, but like entertaining enough when you're reading it. I honestly don't have anything else to say about it because, it was 3 out of 5 stars. There we have it. Those are the books I want to talk about in this 10 in 2023 video. And if you like this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!